Publius Virgilius Marin, often nicknamed Virgil, was an ancient Roman poet. His poems have always been read and considered most praiseworthy, linking the founding of Roman culture to the Trojan War, describing one of the most tragic romances ever written, explaining the fundamental source of Roman conflict with Carthage. In this video, you may learn details about one of the books in Virgil's eternal renown epic, the Aeneid. Book 11. Great Camilla and her female warriors. After the great battle that liberated the besieged Trojan camp, Aeneas is celebrated by the victors. In the meantime, news of their defeat reaches the Latin capital, and its people panic. Before further conflict, however, the dead must be buried. Among the Trojan forces, the most lamented is Evander, the son of the allied Greek king. Aeneas weeps over the youth's body and is quoted as if speaking to the absent king.
Wounded sire, thou shalt not suffer dishonor by the loss of your son. Thou shalt not blush, old man, however grieved. Thy Pallas no dishonest wound received. He died no death to make you wish that you had not lived to witness. What a champion has the Ausonian coast. What a friend hast thou, Aeneas, lost.
Remember that Aeneas is Aeneas' child. The poet then describes how the prince's body is prepared and carried over to his native city. Likewise, he quotes the lamentations of the king when he beholds his dead son. Although this king says much, perhaps the most consequential is that he makes clear that he is not angry at Aeneas. Soon after the prior ceremony, a group of messengers arrive from Laurentum, their principal foe. They ask for a truce and permission to gather their deceased. Aeneas agrees, but also adds,
Turnus then should try his cause in arms to conquer or to die. In equal arms let the two of us compete. Let whomever the fates prefer succeed. This is the only way for him to keep the royal virgin and honorable serenity.
In the funeral, both sides cremate their dead. Afterwards, the Trojans bury the ashes by constructing a large earth mount. Lastly, both sides mourn and recuperate for 3 days. As for the Latin town, their situation grows even more desperate as not only are the people very angry with Turnus, but also message arrives that Diomedes refuses to join their efforts. Remember, this is the great hero from the Iliad that was mentioned in Book 8. The messengers quote the hero as saying,
"What madness has so altered your minds? To exchange tranquil rest for uncertain conflict? Have not ever your ancestors abhorred in unclear sword to solicit arms unknown?"
I very much like the reference of abhorring foreign military aid, such as mercenaries. Alas, far too many civilizations have met their end by using wealth to substitute military autonomy. Diomedes' message further describes the might of the Trojans and the terrible fate all the triumphant Greek heroes had to meet. Among other examples, he says that Odysseus is still lost at sea and that he lost his wife and home. As such, let there be no doubt that it is utmost folly to defy the will of Venus. Likewise, Diomedes says that among the Trojan Aeneas was second only to Hector in military ability. Therefore, his counsel is,
"Make peace, ye Latians, and avoid with care the impending dangers of a fatal war."
The Latin king proposes to his council that they make peace by conceding much land to the Trojans. A certain Drances takes the opportunity to undercut Turnus' political standing. He not only blames Turnus, but also insists that they should continue offering the princess to Aeneas. How the poet describes this man is noteworthy. Consider.
Factious and rich, bold at the council board, but cautious in the field, he shuns the sword. A secret caballer, courageous only in his tongue.
In other words, a coward with big words. Turnus grows angry as he defends himself against the accusations. He reminds the council that they were not wholly defeated, as they did kill many Trojans. What is more, he insists that the Trojans may yet be defeated as they were by the Greeks. He says he will willingly fight Aeneas in single combat. However, before they may vote, because they would have voted, the whole meeting is interrupted by news that the Trojan army is approaching the city. Virgil describes the townsfolk's panic. Turnus arms himself and gathers as many soldiers as he can. Then Camilla, the warrior maiden, re-enters the narrative. She tells Turnus to stay and defend the city while she fights in the nearby woodland. He welcomes her offer and proposes that her fight will give him time to prepare an ambush. As such, the plan is made that Camilla and her troops will delay the Trojans while Turnus prepares the ploy. It turns out that Camilla is favored by none other than Latonian Phoebe, the mother of Apollo and Artemis. Seeing what is to come, the goddess says,
Camilla goes to meet her death amidst her fatal foes. Of all the nymphs I ever cared for her most. Now to waste all the alms and aid I gave.
She continues by describing the maiden's life or upbringing. As an orphan, Camilla was saved by a deposed king named Medibus. This one not only saved her, but also reared her in the most militant and self-sufficient manner. She spent all her childhood in the wilderness learning how to hunt, take care of herself, and master the use of weapons. She became so famous for her autonomy and impressive in her ability and prowess that when she grew up,
The Tuscan matrons with each other vied to bless their own son with such a bride. But she happily refuses them a possibility. In the shaded woods she enjoys her virginity.
of course, not only an unmarried virgin, but also became, somehow, a queen and military general. Either way, after telling all this about her, Phoebe sends a nymph, with orders to kill and revenge whoever kills Camilla. The ensuing battle is between troops of horsemen and chariots. Much occurs that I will skip over. The Latins, with Camilla as leader, are initially successful in withstanding the Trojans. It is curious to read that Camilla is accompanied by a special troop of fellow women. They all fight as if they were Amazonians. LOL. Speaking of her feats, let me quote.
Of all her deadly darts, not one she lost. Each yielded or collected a Trojan ghost, dominating with ease and insulting the fallen.
Here cease thy vaunts and own my victory. A woman warrior was too strong for thee. Yet, if Hades demands thy conqueror's name, confess it was great Camilla, don't be ashamed.
Truly, this seems as if a modern text. A strong female heroine. Eventually, one man dares Camilla to descend from her chariot and fight him one-on-one. She concedes and the challenger quickly loses his heart and flees. LOL. However, it is at this moment that another, hiding behind some vegetation, stealthily shoots her down. After the deed, the poet describes the assassin's flight to that of a dog that knows he has misbehaved. However, the nymph sent by the goddess does as she was instructed and kills him. In the meantime, with her dying breath, Camilla sends word to Turnus letting him know that they cannot hold the position any longer. Therefore, the Latin is unable to complete his preparations and thus moves back into the city. The entrance to the city, with the rushing crowd and the mass of routed troops, turns into a great chaos, while the Latins are pursued by the enemy.
The Latian virgins, valiant in despair, arm the towers, wishing to share the danger. So much zeal their country's cause inspired. So much Camilla's great example fired. Willing to exchange their lives for liberty, competing over which is most daring.
As a result, thanks to the young women, the attacking Trojans fail to quickly capture the city, and a siege ensues. The next is the last book. Don't miss it. Now, as usual, I gift you an aphorism I came up with as I read this poem.
Blessed are those who regret, because only they shall introspect.
If you enjoy or gain from my aphorisms, know that I have thousands. I will be writing books with short thematic essays composed out of aphorisms. These essays are profound and intriguing yet easy to read. For very cheap copies, look up Protagoras Pause in the Amazon website. I repeat, Protagoras Pause, that's my name.